Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cara.fiano and I'm a local real estate broker in the Asheville region with Mackey Realty. When I tell you guys this has not been my year, I really mean that. You can probably tell the video quality of this video is not the best. I'm actually filming on a computer today. I'm going to be doing some screen sharing because a couple days ago, I opened my computer one morning and I got this blue screen basically telling me my computer has been encrypted and I can't get into it without a 49-digit key that I was never given, but you're just supposed to know of its existence. Basically, what that means is that I can't get into my everyday work and personal computer, and everything is on there. All of my buyer guides, seller guides, lead spreadsheet, business ideas, YouTube video ideas, past client information, all these, different records, health records, business records, just like everything. It's been my everyday computer for the past 11 years. So I can't get in there, and no one can get in there because it's encrypted by Microsoft themselves. So I'm not going to go into the whole long story and saga of the amount of time I've wasted trying to resolve this problem, but just know that all of my data for my June housing market update video was on that computer, and now I don't have that anymore. So I still wanted to get some sort of video out for you guys. So this is definitely going to be different than the other housing market update videos. I don't have any of the national statistics that I saved, but I want to dive deeper into local data in this video and just do a deeper dive than I typically would do in a housing market update video. So it will be a different format. Hopefully you guys do still enjoy it and get something out of it. But I'm going to share some of the local data to start, and then I'll probably share some local news, a little bit of mortgage news and things like that. So let's get into it. So first I'm going to start out by talking about the Asheville region. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here to the points that really matter. So you guys will probably recognize some of these graphs. This is kind of the big document where I pull a good bit of the local data, but not all of it. So starting out with new listings, this is for May, since May has been completed. So as you can see here, new listings are up by 28.5% in May compared to a year ago, which is not too surprising. It's kind of the trend that we've been seeing over the past few months. Year to date, it's up as well. Over here on the right hand side, I do like to look at this as well. This shows you on a month over month basis. You can see that it is increasing as well. I like to look at both the year over year and also month over month data because it doesn't always align. Sometimes something will increase year over year but actually be declining on a more short-term time frame. So as you could see, new listings are increasing year over year as well as month over month, and this chart here on the bottom definitely shows that as well. So new listings, it looks like, are as high as they were back in like spring, summer 2015, maybe even a little bit higher. So that's pretty good to see if you are a buyer. Pending sales, not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but pending sales are pretty much flat. And I'm not sure if I already mentioned this, but this document that I'm starting with is for the Asheville region. So this contains 13 different counties, and then I'm going to break it down into a few specific counties to give you county specific data. Pending sales, pretty much, not doing a whole lot. Closed sales are down. This isn't too surprising, at least not for myself. It's just been a very slow year for business. Closed sales are down. Year over year and month over month, this is one of those where it is actually different. So month over month, it has been slowly increasing. It looks like we kind of bottomed out in February. That's pretty typical. Winter does tend to be a slower time for real estate, but it has been picking up a little bit going into spring and summer, which is a welcome change. But overall, if you look at the historical data, right here, really everything is just going down. So days on market, this is basically any listing that's going to be active or listed as under contract show. If you have a property that's under contract no show, which basically means the seller is not accepting backup offers, then it would not show in this days on market number. So days on market has been increasing. It's up 20.5% over the past year, but it has been declining going into spring and summer. We peaked again in February. That's pretty much to be expected. But yeah, generally this over the past few years has been trending upwards, but real estate is cyclical on a multi-year time frame, but also on a yearly time frame. So spring and summer in this region tend to be the busiest. So it makes sense that that number would decline at this time of year. I don't really pay attention to average list price as much. I care more about what properties actually sold for. And if there are any statistics that you guys see in here that you're like, no, I wish you would have talked about that, let me know and I'll be sure to include it in a future video. But average sale price, this is down 7.5% year over year, but it is kind of stabilizing on a month over month basis. But that's just kind of stabilizing, I would say. And you could see that with this longer term chart as well. Median sale price, you guys know this tends to be the one that I prefer more than even average sale price. This is basically stabilizing, down 3.4% year over year. So median sale price is $420. I don't think I actually shared average. So average sale price was $5049. So let's see. Median sale price, yeah, $420, which is exactly what it was in April. So that's kind of interesting. And you could see here that's stabilizing. So I know that people have been asking me, are home prices finally coming down? Are we officially in a buyer's market? And I am going to get to that in this video, but I did want to show you that as you can see with these charts, even on the month over month basis, we're not seeing these massive, plummets on the chart of, home prices just skyrocketing downwards or anything. We're not seeing huge drops. They are stabilizing, and in some areas we are seeing price declines, which I'll dive into a little bit, but let's keep going here. Percent of list price received. This has basically always been around that 95% mark. A couple of years ago it was 97%. As you can see over here, it doesn't really waver a whole lot, or it hasn't over the past few months or few years. It's really just kind of stabilized. Housing Affordability Index. I talk about affordability in a lot of my housing market update videos, and it's still not looking the best. You could see it's getting a little bit better. It increased by 4.7% year over year, but it's still quite low in the grand scheme of things. Affordability has been going down month over month, and this chart I've shown before, it is just not the happiest. So earlier I talked about new listings, but I want to now mention total inventory, because this is the number I think matters even more. So total inventory has actually increased by 57% in the past year. That is really, really big. And you can see that here too. Let's see, we bottomed out in January of this year at around 2,900, and now we are up at almost 4,500. So that's a pretty big jump, and you could see this line right here is going up quite a bit as well. So inventory is definitely on the rise. So to kind of summarize this, we're seeing increasing inventory, prices are starting to stabilize, and homes are sitting on the market a bit longer. This means that the seller's market that we are in is starting to cool. And I know some of you are wondering, okay, so are we in a buyer's market? A couple months ago, I broached this topic and stated that we're not quite there. We're trending towards that direction. So I do have an update on where exactly we are in regards to that now. So month supply of inventory, this is that number. Basically, if this number is below 6, then we are in a seller's market. Between 6 and 7 is a neutral market, and 7 and higher is a buyer's market. So for the 13 counties, the Asheville region, we are at 5.8, We are just about in that neutral market territory, and I have some exciting news on the more county specific data. I think if you are a buyer, you will be happy to see it, but I'll get there in a little bit. So, month supply of inventory definitely increasing. I'm not really going to say steadily increasing. It's been increasing pretty quickly. So, that strong sellers market that we saw, during the COVID times, I'll call them, that market is not what we're currently experiencing. And I think that that's been something that's difficult for sellers to really grasp. I think that sellers are still overpricing their properties a little bit. And a lot of times you'll see properties have a lot of price decreases. A large reason for that is because they overprice it to start. If the market is starting to cool, they're then having to decrease their price and basically chase the market downwards. Whereas they would have been better off listing their property appropriately at a good price and selling it quicker. But anyways, I'm not sure if that's really a basically seller ignorance type of thing, or maybe realtors just pushing, sellers telling them, oh, I could get you more for your money just to get the listing, which is never a good tactic. I've shared a little bit of that in the past and my experience, losing a couple listings because I told the truth, let's say, and other agents kind of fudged what the truth was and what they could actually get the seller in terms of sale price. So anyway, that's a bit of a tangent. That is what I'm going to talk about for the Asheville region. Now I want to talk about this Asheville MSA. Basically what this is the main 4 counties that are most populated, and they tend to be the ones where I tend to work in the most as well. I do work in other counties aside from these, but this includes Buncombe County, Haywood County, Henderson County, and Madison County. So basically the main 4. So I like this a little bit better because we can see really where people tend to be focusing their home search or selling properties. So it's interesting, this pretty much breaks down the same statistics that I was just going over. So again, new listings are up. Let's see, median sale price down just a little bit. Median sale price in this area for those 4 counties is around $460. Average sale price is around $550. Yeah, what is that? $554. That's down about 8%. Let's see what else. Days on market, that's been increasing. Inventory, that's up huge. Look at this. Inventory of homes for sale is up by 68%. That's a year-over-year number. And month supply of inventory is 5.7. I think it was 5.8 for the Asheville region. So it's pretty much standing in line with the Asheville region too. But I just thought that that was worth sharing. Now, I know that a lot of you have been curious about county-specific information. I want to say it was 2 months, maybe 3 months ago, I shared the Madison County numbers. This was when I had Q1's data, so it would have been in April. I don't have Q2 yet since that's not over, but I was actually able to find county-specific data. So basically what I was going to say is Madison County was very close to a neutral market. It was at like 5.8, 5.9 back in April or March, and I do have an update on that as well as the other counties. So instead of me rambling, let's dive in here. So Buncombe County, last year in May, the month supply of inventory was 2.9. It is now 5.9. That is a 103% increase. That's really, really big. But on here, you could see inventory up 81%. That's huge. Again, median sale price pretty much stabilizing. Average sale price, that one's down. I do tend to like to look at median sale price over average because median just kind of removes some of those outliers. For average sale price, you could say that maybe there were a few more multi-million-dollar homes that sold, and that will skew those numbers. So median, I like a little bit more to really read the trends of pricing in this area. So that I would say is still roughly stabilizing. But yeah, we are definitely trending closer towards a neutral market and possibly a buyer's market pretty soon. 5.9, That's pretty close to that neutral market territory. Henderson County, this one is actually in a little bit more of a seller's market than Buncombe County, interestingly. So this one didn't have as big of a change, only 50%. Only a 50, oops, sorry about that. Only a 50% increase from last May to this May. So went from 3.2 to 4.8 for the month supply of inventory. Still within that seller's market range, although interestingly, median sale price did decline by 9%. So that is kind of interesting. Average sale price by 3%. And inventory, yeah, inventory's up by 50%. So even if we just compare these two, so in Buncombe County, we have a greater supply of inventory. Inventory has been increasing a lot more, I should say, and month supply of inventory went up a lot more. Henderson County inventory didn't go up quite as much, and we're still kind of in that seller's market territory, so that's interesting. Let's jump now to Madison County. Look at this number, 8 for month supply of inventory. That is up 105% from a year ago. Madison County is officially in a buyer's market. So if you are looking in that region, definitely take that into consideration. Inventory is up by 50%. That seems to be the go-to number for inventory right now. Median sale price stabilizing, down by 1.6%, but average sale price down 16%. Again, I still feel like that could be an outlier. I'd have to dive into that data a little bit more, but I mean, the fact that that month supply of inventory number is 8 is, yeah, definitely a huge jump there. So let's see, that's Madison County, and then we have Haywood County. So this is like Waynesville area west of town. This one just entered into a neutral market, so we're at 6.1 for month supply of inventory, up 70% year over year. Overall inventory up 67% pretty much. But look at this. Median sale price increased by 7%. Average sale price increased by 9%. So we're entering a neutral market, increasing inventory, but prices have been increasing. Let me look at closed sales are down. So that's very interesting. Let's see, McDowell County. I did want to throw this one in here. This isn't in like the main 4, but I do still feel like it's worth mentioning. McDowell is basically Old Fort, Marion, that sort of area just down the mountain. So McDowell County has also entered a neutral market at 6.5, up 75%. Inventory is up 62%. Look at this. Median sale price down 27.8%. And it's at $350,000. That's pretty crazy. An average sale price down 9.9. So I didn't really focus on the actual sale price, like median sale price for each one, just to give you a quick overview. I'll run through these real quick. So Buncombe County median sale price was $505. Henderson is $422.5. Madison $471. Haywood $397. And then McDowell is $350. So basically what this shows me is that McDowell County tends to be the most affordable, which many of you probably already knew that. That's kind of a well-known thing in this area. And Haywood County was basically second best. Of course, this doesn't include all of the 13 counties, but it's kind of the main ones. So let's see, I have a couple more things I did want to talk about. So I never really show this piece of information, but I thought it was kind of interesting to talk about the number of showings, especially if you are a potential seller, or maybe you have your property listed on the market right now and you're wondering, hey, I'm not really getting a lot of showings. Is this normal? What's going on? And this will basically show you what is actually going on with showings. And just a little tip too, so if I were to list your property, one of the things I can provide you is a detailed look at how your particular property compares to other properties that are for sale in your neighborhood, in your part of town basically, and show you pretty much if we have it priced right, if there need to be adjustments made. It'll basically show you how many showings you are getting compared to your competition. This that I'm showing you today is, as you can see, just for the Asheville region. So this is not specific to any particular property or even area, but it breaks it down, showing you the number of showings in different price points. Honestly, anything around here that's listed at 138.9 or below is going to be basically either land, but I don't even think land, I'm not sure if land is included in this report, but regardless, you're not going to find a livable home in that price point. You're also not really going to find a livable home under 200,000. In this 200 to 308 number, you might be able to find like a condo or a townhouse. It's unlikely that you could find a single family home though, and this is for like Buncombe, Henderson County. As you just saw, if you're looking in McDowell County, you might be able to find a little bit more of something there. And then this 309 or above, obviously this is a much larger price range because that's basically going to mean the majority of the market. So I feel like out of all four of these, this one's probably the best to look at to show you that generally showings are kind of trending downwards. You could see they have that annual cyclical cycle. Showings increase in spring and summer. So that's kind of where we are now, being in June. And they are trending downwards. And then this, I thought, was kind of a better representation, to be honest. It shows you the general trend that showings are headed downwards, and they peaked in spring of 2022. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot more time on that. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about was showing you how different statistics change based on the property type, whether it's a single family home, townhome, or condo, number of bedrooms, and also the price range. This is quite a detailed report, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in here. I've already been talking for quite a bit. But let me go to some important statistics. So this one might be interesting for you guys. Days on market until sale. As you can see, it doesn't really matter the price point or the bedroom count or the property type. For all of these, days on market has been increasing. And this is based on a rolling 12-month average. I did find this interesting, though, that townhomes are actually staying on the market a lot longer than single family or condos. They're actually staying on for 82% longer than they were last year. So that's interesting. But yeah, everything else seems to be kind of evenly increasing in terms of days on market. Let's see what else. Median sale price, pretty much stable. I mean, all these numbers are, 2.9, 0.5. The highest one is 3. Median sale price, pretty much stabilizing across the board. Let's see, inventory. Again, I feel like this is a little bit misleading because 500,000 and above, I wish that they did like 500 to 600, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, that sort of thing. So that part I feel like is a bit difficult to analyze because this just has such a large amount of homes in it. So let's see over here, single family homes, up 54%. This is kind of interesting. Condos are up by 99.5%, so inventory of condos has pretty much doubled. That was such a small number to begin with. Townhomes and condos in this region are not very common. We tend to mainly have single family homes. So with that being such a small number to start, it's probably not that crazy, but I just thought it was interesting. Month supply of inventory. So this will kind of show you whether we're in a seller's, neutral, or buyer's market based on these different factors. So let's see. If you get over, according to this chart, if you get over 500,000, it tends to be a it tends to be a buyer's market. Whereas if you are below that price point, it seems to still be a seller's market. So that's interesting. I have people reach out to me and they'll say, I'm looking for a home that's 400,000 and under. I heard that it's a buyer's market now. I should be able to offer, 50,000 under asking. But then they'll be surprised that there will be multiple offers or a home will sell quicker, and that's because it really depends on the price point that you're in. Of course, it's not just price point, it matters on location. Like if you're in Buncombe County, for example, like Black Mountain, or some of those more popular areas, West Asheville tends to be a very hot market as well. There are a lot of different factors, of course. That's why it's good to have a real estate agent to basically help you determine what the best tactic would be for placing an offer on a property, because they know the market really well. Not all agents do, but I do at least. Okay, so anyways, bedroom count. Yeah, that makes sense. Month supply of inventory. So 4 bedrooms or more, that seems to be now in a buyer's market, but that makes sense since 4-bedroom homes tend to be more expensive, so that would tend to fall in this 500,000 plus range. And then by property type, this is interesting. So single family, not quite in that neutral market territory. Townhomes just entered in there, and then condos are at 8.8. That's the highest number I think we've seen today. So I think that's pretty much everything in terms of these charts that I want to cover. For now, I'll just briefly run you through some of the statistics that I can remember. I wish I had like all my other charts and notes and things on national data to share, but hopefully you guys did enjoy this deep dive. A few other notes I wanted to share is that mortgage rates have basically stabilized. The last number I read was that they were averaging around 6.8-ish, which hasn't really changed a whole lot from last month. And the Fed is not really expected to drop rates until maybe September. That's kind of the earliest time frame that I've been hearing. Aside from that, let's see what else there is to talk about. Local news, Chimney Rock State Park is actually opening up next Friday, June 27th. It is going to be by reservation and appointment only. They don't want a flood of people just coming to Chimney Rock, and it's just the infrastructure is not ready for that yet. But they are wanting to get some people in there and be able to enjoy the area again. So if you guys plan to go to that, either like on opening weekend or, sometime this summer, let me know. I'd be curious. I'm planning to head down there at some point, probably not next weekend. I feel like that's just going to be packed. They're probably going to sell out. But I think that's probably about it for today. Hopefully this made sense and was helpful. I know it was a bit rambly at times, but I just wanted to share pretty much what I could. And hopefully there are no more issues so that I can gather data and have it for next month. And I've learned the hard way that I need to back up things on my external hard drive more frequently. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do want a copy of my home buyer guide, I do still have access to that, thankfully. I didn't lose that. So if you would like a copy, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to send it over. And also, if you are considering selling your property, I'd be more than happy to do a free comparative market analysis for you so that we can determine a good list price and a good marketing plan and get that going. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, leave me a comment down below, call me, text me, email me. I love to hear from you guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this video with your family and friends. All right, everyone, I will see you very soon in the next one.